Well, it seems Xbox is back in the news once again, and even though last month a lot of people loved what Xbox brought to the table with their game showcase and seeing Perfect Dark and Fable and the new Gears game, we're a month later and people are going absolutely crazy with their hot takes because there's a little bit of bad Xbox news that was announced yesterday, which I think was supposed to be announced today, at least according to some of the rumors out there. And that's regarding some of the big changes to Xbox Game Pass. The removal of day one, price increases, and a whole bunch of convoluted pathways to be like, what games get day one and what games don't. There's one thing you can always count on, is that the internet will have a normal, reasonable reaction to Xbox news. Certainly, it won't get blown out of proportion and nobody will give their hot takes. You know, who are we kidding? YouTube and Twitter is all about the hottest of takes. And I definitely gonna have to drop mine here. What's going on, everybody? It's Randall Thor19, man with the million. Back again with another video. I know it's been about a month, but nothing's really been going on. But you know, I had to talk about this. New tier in Xbox Game Pass that doesn't have day one games? Oh, that is a change from the normal. And it's also something, if I want to toot my own horn a little bit here, something I said was going to happen back in May. I mean, all you got to do is really just Google Randall Thor19, new Game Pass tier, and you'll see it. I had talked about it back in May, didn't know what it was. It's kind of a lie there. I knew exactly what it was going to be. But we need to talk about everything going on here. But we do need to talk about everything going on here, as well as the rumor going around that Modern Warfare 3 might be hitting Game Pass as soon as the end of the month. A lot of stuff going on here, so if you guys can do me a huge favor, hit the like button and subscribe. That would help me out tremendously. We have a whole bunch of stuff here, and I'm reading from Jez Corden's article at Windows Central, my podcast co-host, because he broke the news yesterday, at least got all the information. And this is what is going on. And there's a lot of bullet points here, so there's a lot to take in, but I'll try to make it as simplest explanation as I can. So we have soon Xbox Game Pass for console will be shuttered for new users only. That is something that I saw kind of not reported correctly yesterday, that, oh my God, they're removing day one games, everybody's going to lose them. But in reality, if you're a Game Pass console user right now, as long as you stay subscribed, you'll get your day one games. Of course, that kind of does feel like Microsoft has you hostage a little bit, where it's like, yeah, as long as you stay subscribed, you'll get your day one games. But if there ever is a month where we're not offering you anything and you decide to unsubscribe, well, guess what? You can't come back. So you best stay subscribed to get your day one games, because if you leave, the only way to get day one games is to bump up to Ultimate. We also have users currently on Game Pass for console will be allowed to maintain their sub, as well as day one games and hundreds of titles in the back catalog. New users on Xbox Game Pass in the near future will be greeted by a new Game Pass standard. This is more like EA Access, which includes Xbox back catalog and doesn't include day one games. This will be priced at $14.99 per month and will also include Xbox Live Gold for multiplayer, which is now known as Xbox Game Pass Core, confusingly. And that's one of the things I do agree here with Jez, is these naming structures. Game Pass Core, Game Pass Standard. Core and Standard are basically synonyms for one another. Why not just throw in Basic in there too and have Core, Basic, Standard? I don't know, it kind of makes it seem like they're supposed to be the same tier in a way, but that's how Microsoft names all their products. I mean, for Christ's sake, they went from the Xbox to the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One to the Xbox Series consoles. They're not really good at naming these things, and that's something that, I don't know, must be stuck in their DNA. But I will agree, like, the Basic, Core, Standard stuff is maybe confusing to, you know, not the most hardcorest of gamers, but it is what it is. I don't know if they'll ever fix that. And it doesn't include Xbox Cloud Gaming. Game Pass Standard is supposedly launching in September, around September 12th. So from September 12th, 2024, Microsoft will only allow existing users to stack Game Pass console for up to 13 months using prepaid cards and the like, which will continue to function in perpetuity. If you have more than 13 months stacked already, you won't be impacted. So this is one of the things a lot of people do take advantage of, is Microsoft has allowed you to stack subscription months. Like currently, I have Game Pass Ultimate stacked all the way to like 2027. I have 3 years on Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So while personally I'm not affected by this change whatsoever, it's like, oh, well, you're raising the price? Yeah, that sucks. I mean, I don't want to pay more for anything, but considering I stacked it for the next 3 years, I'm not paying anything more. I'm locked in. So there's a little bit of that. I'll give my thoughts on that a little bit later. But Xbox Game Pass Ultimate will not be changed, but it will get a price increase. It will still include PC Game Pass, Day One games, and hundreds of back catalog titles, as well as cloud gaming. But it is getting a price increase. The new price will be $19.99 per month, and you can find discounted codes all over the place. PC Game Pass is also getting a price increase from $9.99 to $11.99, and PC Game Pass will also be getting Day One games. And Xbox Game Pass Core, which is formerly Xbox Live Gold, gets an annual price increase to $74.99 from $59.99, but will remain $9.99 a month. I mean, $10 a month, 12 months, $120. Of course, they're really not going to raise that. I think most people who play for Game Pass Core are probably on that yearly, hey, it's $60, but now it's $74.99. And I think that one is probably the easiest to explain. Sony got away with raising the price of PlayStation Plus Essential, which is their multiplayer access, including, the games they give away, to essentially that price point. And nobody really cared. So Microsoft's like, hey, we're going to do it too. I still recall a couple years ago when Microsoft was going to raise the price of console multiplayer all the way up to $120, and people threw a shit fit, including myself, and they rolled that back. But hey, now that the market leader has done it and nobody really seemed to care, Microsoft's going to follow suit. And nobody's really talking about the price increases for Game Pass Core. The main focus is on removal of Day One and what that means and why they're doing it, plus the price increase stuff. So let's address the price increase right off the bat. So Game Pass Standard is going from $10.99 to $14.99. And Ultimate is getting a $3 price hike to $19.99. And I know people will always say these things are inevitable. Look at PlayStation Plus, look at Netflix, look at Hulu, look at HBO Max, look at Disney. Every single subscription service in the world, or even a lot of the groceries that everybody buys, always goes up because of inflation and all these sort of things. So I get that. I understand that. The question you have to ask yourself is that, with the price increase, are you still seeing value out of your subscription? And if the answer to that question is yes, well, then you'll stay subscribed. I mean, nobody really wants to pay more for a service that they've been using and not really getting anything more out of it. Like, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate isn't getting anything new. They're just raising the price. And it's like, well, I'm not a fan of that. And I certainly wouldn't begrudge anybody that is now priced out of it, where they're like, hey, you know what, this is too expensive for me, I'm going to get rid of it. Because a lot of people have been going down that way with a lot of the subscription services. Disney Plus, a lot of people feel is now too expensive for what it offers. Or something like Spotify. I had Spotify Premium. I don't really use it that much. They raised the price again. I actually got rid of it. There is a point where it's how much I'm willing to pay, and if you go above that, I'm going to get rid of it. So while I don't like paying more for a product, it's still within that range where I see value out of it. But if that's not you, if you want to unsubscribe because it's too expensive now, because the games coming aren't as great as you thought. I mean, for example, Microsoft went 7 months in between exclusive releases of Forza Motorsport and Hellblade 2 from October to May. If you felt you weren't really getting your money's worth, yeah, unsubscribe. That's the thing about all this. You don't have to keep subscribed to Game Pass. You're your own person that makes your own decisions. If you don't like the service, if you think it's too expensive, or if the games aren't up to your standard, then get rid of it. Or buy the games. It's options. You want Game Pass? You got it. You have to pay this much. If you rather purchase the game outright, you can do that too. Nothing is locked behind Game Pass. Perhaps the bigger discussion point around all this is centered around them removing Day One games, because that has been the focal point of Xbox's marketing of Game Pass since 2017. I know they launched a service in 2017, but they didn't really focus on day one games. It wasn't really until like Sea of Thieves and State of Decay and stuff happened in 2018. But essentially since then, the whole difference between Game Pass and what PlayStation is doing is that Xbox puts its own games day one in the service, as well as a bunch of AA indie games and stuff like that, where PlayStation really doesn't offer that. That's what made the services different. And now you're talking about Microsoft stepping away from a huge part of that. And now you have people questioning, like I've literally seen people out there being like, I'm so confused. I need a flow chart to understand what things are in what tiers and stuff. And you know what? For simplicity's sake, I'm going to throw up Klober's chart here so everybody can see it and understand it. Game Pass Core, right, is just multiplayer access and 30 games. That's what it is. You build up that, you go up one more tier. Standard is multiplayer access and the whole library, but not day one games. And then you have Ultimate, which is everything. You get multiplayer, you get the whole library, you get day one games, you get EA Play, you get cloud gaming, and you get PC Game Pass. So when you talk about the removal of day one, it sort of seems like Microsoft is maybe saying, hey, maybe Game Pass doesn't work like we thought, right? I've seen those takes out there. But I'll tell you right up, this is what I think is going on. Why they removed day one from standard tier, and if you want it, you have to go up to Ultimate. I think it all revolves around Call of Duty, the acquisitions, and all that stuff. Because pretty soon, the Call of Duty games are going to be in the service. And that is going to be a big driver for new subs. At least Microsoft thinks it's going to be. But if they didn't do this, you would have a bunch of people who could have subbed at the lowest tier for $10 a month to be able to access Call of Duty. And instead of that, Microsoft has now forced those people, you want Call of Duty and you're not a part of Game Pass, well, you need to subscribe to Ultimate. You need to pay $19.99, which is a little less than a third of the whole price of the game. So while they expect an influx of new people, the Call of Duty gamers, to sign up, they also want their money. They don't want them signing up at $10. They want them signing up at $20. I think that's sort of the play here. But, of course, everybody is going to be talking about what does this actually mean, the removal of day one, they don't believe in Game Pass anymore and all that sort of stuff. People say those things, like we just didn't get done watching a showcase a month ago where every single trailer literally said play at day one with Game Pass. And yeah, I know, like, well, what Game Pass tier does that mean? I don't understand. Me confused, right? The sort of playing up the stupidity angle. It's like, yeah, I get it. You know, Game Pass Core doesn't have it, and console does if you're on it, but standard, the new tier, doesn't have it, so new people won't be able to, but PC Game Pass does, and Ultimate has it as well. So I understand the initial confusion surrounding it, but I think by the time all this stuff is kind of set in stone and people get some time with it, you'll just know what's going on, you know? But nobody likes removal of features. Now you're actually going to be paying more for Xbox Game Pass Standard than you did for console, and you actually get less features. You don't get day one games, but you're paying more for it. But as long as you currently stay subscribed, because Microsoft has you hostage, because if they're like, hey, you can keep your day one games if you're subscribed to Xbox Game Pass console, guys, don't unsubscribe. Hey, if we have a period of time where there's not really anything you want to play and you want to save some money, don't do that, because if you do, and you want those day one games again, you're going to have to subscribe at the top level. Now, as for why they did this today, well, according to Tom Henderson over at Insider Gaming, Microsoft is set to launch Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 in Xbox Game Pass later this month. The 2023 Call of Duty title will mark the first of the older Call of Duty games coming to Xbox Game Pass, and it's understood that the announcement could come as soon as today, which is believed to have been the original plan for the Xbox Game Pass price increase and changes. Now, if you listen to Xbox 2, this is something I predicted. We have been talking about Crash joining Xbox Game Pass in August, kind of beginning the rollout of stuff, and I felt, you know what, maybe it's time. Maybe they're going to start rolling in these older Call of Duties in there. And that's what it seems to be. Tom Henderson says it's happening. Jez Corden, Windows Central corroborated it. So it looks like Modern Warfare 3 is joining the service just in time for Microsoft to get rid of the console tier for new subscribers. What this all means to me is Microsoft is trying to get as much money out of everybody as they can, right? This is really no longer about getting as many subs as they can. There's no, hey, subscribe to Game Pass for $1 and get 3 months like there used to be in the past when they were in user acquisition mode. At this point, now they're like, we want to start getting our money back. And there are our core gamers out there that are on Ultimate, which, at least according to some of the figures I've heard, pretty much like 80% of the people on Game Pass console are basically subscribed to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So for a lot of people, this isn't going to be a big change anyways, because Ultimate was always the better deal. When you kind of step outside and look at the reactions to this, it's quite varied, right? Some people are being like, what is Microsoft doing? How could they do this? How could they raise prices? How could they remove day one? What is their strategy? What are they thinking? Oh my God, the world's ending. And other people are like, Microsoft's not doing any wrong. You can't criticize them for anything. And it's like, how can you end up in this situation where, one, you can't criticize anything they do, or two, the sky is falling and Microsoft is doomed and Xbox is going to close and Game Pass is imploding and there's not going to be any more games in there. It's these weird outliers that you kind of jump into and you look and you just read and you're like, what is going on? Like, I understand the naming convention is all out of sorts. Honestly, what it really should just be is Game Pass Standard and Game Pass Ultimate with PC Game Pass. They should really just drop Xbox Game Pass Core. Just, you have Standard and you have Ultimate. And that really should be it. You want day one? You're on Ultimate. If you don't care about day one, you're on Standard and you still get, multiplayer access. Those should be the two tiers. And then when you even think about it further, if you really want to aim for the casual market, you really need a cheaper one, like ad-supported, sort of like Netflix does. Or maybe for $5 a month, you watch some ads, you can play some games. And then there's the whole thing with the cloud gaming. Microsoft making a whole big deal out of the Fire Stick stuff. Not only do you need a Fire Stick and a controller, you need the $19.99 Ultimate. It's like, well, if somebody really is going to be a cloud gamer and that's all they're going to do, then there probably should be a cloud gaming tier by itself for really cheap, maybe $10 or $5. So there's still ways they can tweak this, but what it really should just be is Standard and Ultimate. And I know PC is on its other side doing its own thing because Microsoft sees growth opportunity on PC that they really don't see in console right now. So there's a lot of ways you can finagle these tiers. At the end of the day, this is all a personal decision for every single person listening to this video. If you think Game Pass is still offering great value at $19.99 a month, then you continue to pay for it. You continue enjoying all the great games that Xbox is going to be putting out from this year, like Indiana Jones and Avowed, to next year with Fable and South of Midnight. And you continue paying it until you feel that it's too expensive or that the games aren't there anymore. And if you're someone right now who's like, it's too expensive for me and I need to unsubscribe, I feel you, man. Nobody likes paying more for things. It's just that personally right now, I'm locked up to 2027. So nothing changes for me. I got Ultimate for the next 3 years. And I'm sure there's plenty of people on console. They're like, well, if I don't need to get rid of anything, I still got my day one games. This only really affects new users. And what it really affects is the perception of Xbox on social media and elsewhere. Anytime there's bad Xbox news, oh man, people are out of the woodworks. They're giving you their hot takes on social media. They're making their YouTube videos with those thumbnails, with the faces that are all disappointed. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It just is what it is. And I don't know. I know I've been rambling, so I'm going to end this video. Hope everybody has a great day. Thanks for watching. Love you guys. See you later.